seems to be tied to, the broader belief in the growth of smart contracts.
Okay, so if you think smart contracts are going to be big, then you're probably bullish on Link.
Exactly. But, if there's a general cooling down of enthusiasm for, crypto and DeFi,
Yeah.
then a Link pick might see some selling pressure.
Okay, that makes sense. So what are the things working in Chainlink's favor, the pros?
So first and foremost, it's got that fundamental role in enabling complex smart contract functionality.
Right.
Without oracles, smart contracts can't really interact with the real world in a meaningful way.
Right.
And it's being adopted not just in DeFi, but, in other industries as well, supply chain management, insurance, gaming, all sorts of things.
So it's got broad applicability.
Yeah, and it's designed to be blockchain agnostic, meaning it can work across different blockchain networks.
Yeah.
So it's not tied to just Ethereum or any one platform.
Okay, so it's versatile, but what about the cons, the potential downsides?
Yeah, so the sources point out a few things. Currently, it's still heavily dependent on the Ethereum ecosystem, which, as we discussed, has its own challenges with scalability and costs.
Right.
It's also facing competition. There are other Oracle providers out there like Band Protocol.
Okay.
And the tokenomics, the way the LNK tokens are distributed, has been subject to some debate.
Okay.
Some people argue that the total supply is too high, which could potentially limit price appreciation.
Okay, so those are some things to keep in mind. So what's the long-term view for Link looking ahead to 2025?
So the long-term views suggest a potential price range of $50 to $75 by 2025.
Okay.
But again, that's assuming that, the DeFi sector continues to expand and that Chainlink maintains its leadership position in the Oracle space. And as we mentioned before, its price is closely tied to the success of Ethereum. If Ethereum does well, Chainlink is likely to benefit.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's move on to another Ethereum competitor, Avalanche, with its AVX token.
Okay, Avalanche. This is a newer platform launched in 2020. It's designed to be highly scalable, meaning it can handle a lot of transactions. And it's a multi-chain network, meaning it's not just one blockchain. It's actually a network of interconnected blockchains.
Okay.
And one of those chains is the C chain, which stands for contract chain. And this is the one that's really designed to compete with Ethereum.
Okay.
It supports smart contracts. It's got its own ecosystem of dApps. And Avalanche is really focused on speed and low transaction fees.
Right. So trying to address some of those pain points that we talked about with Ethereum.
Exactly.
Okay, so how does Avalanche stack up in terms of legitimacy?
So the sources indicate that Avalanche is a legitimate project.
Okay.
It's got a growing community of users and developers. It's got some notable partnerships, including one with Deloitte.
Okay.
And it's definitely seen as, a strong contender in that Ethereum killer category.
Right, so it's a project to watch. What's the general sentiment around Avalanche and its